Madam Commissioner, EU enlargement has probably never been as geopolitical as it is now. It used to be a process, but now there's geopolitics involved on the highest stage. What is your vision for EU enlargement, for your mandate stretching to 2029?
I agree with you completely. You know, when I was still a candidate for the commissioner in November or in October, I was telling that enlargement today is different than it was 5 years back. But today, I'm saying that enlargement today is different than it was in January, because so much has changed, including with the new US government. So the geopolitics has changed in the sense of it has been priority before the enlargement, but it was not that much connected to the security and peace part. And again, you know, somehow with the enlargement today, we go back to the roots of why the EU has been established. It has been about providing peace, freedom, prosperity, and today we could add security. And this is what actually we do in the whole process. Of course, it's still about chapters and clusters and benchmarks, but this is far more important in the sense of that if we will fail in this, I will turn around it, we cannot fail. So it is so much important today that we cannot fail in the enlargement process, which is the most successful foreign policy of the EU.
What is failure?
The failure would be if we will not get any newcomers into the EU in the times of the present Commission, and I'm sure that we can do this. We could do this with Montenegro. All the chapters are open, so we just are closing them, so we could finish at the end of 26 from the technical point of view. We could finish from the technical point of view with Albania until the end of 27. Why I'm saying the technical point of view? Because this is the negotiation procedure, they have to do the reforms, but then it's up to the member states who will decide if they will become a member or not.
I know that every enlargement commissioner hates to commit to timelines, but you mentioned Montenegro, you mentioned Albania. Are they EU member state number 28 and 29 when you leave office in 2029?
Yes.
Anyone else apart from those two?
Could be. Moldova is really a good student in the whole group. They really feel, you know, this historical moment, and this is something what probably we haven't seen this before, because it is a peace project, because they want to belong to the community of values and democracy. They are willing to do everything possible. Even, you know, Ukraine, for the first time in the history, we are negotiating with a country at war. Never before we have done this. So I'm positive that it could be more than just two newcomers.
Picking on Moldova, the problem here doesn't really seem to be Moldova right now. I'm referring, of course, that they are coupled to Ukraine. Is it time to decouple them as you did, or not you, but the EU did with Albania and North Macedonia?
We are discussing already with the member states what to do, because no member state is against opening the first cluster with Moldova. So I hope that we will find a solution soon, and that we will be able to open not just the first cluster, the rest of them all in this year.
So you cannot rule out a decoupling already now in June, for example?
No.
When it comes to Ukraine, obviously there is the issue of national minorities, something that Hungary has brought up. Do you see scope for a deal here? Has, for example, Ukraine done enough when it comes to their national minority legislation, or do you feel that Budapest is asking for even more? How can this be solved? Ukraine
has done enough. I can tell you out of my personal experience, because I was facilitating the dialogue between Hungary and Ukraine. And there were many points, and Ukraine is willing to fulfill all of them. But this is not enough for Hungary. And we have to see how to persuade Hungary that it will be allowing to open the first cluster. Ukrainians know, this is not just about the Hungarian minority. protecting the minorities is one of the most important parts or tasks one member state or candidate country has to do, and for all the minorities, not just for the Hungarian minority. So we will see what the so-called public consultation in Hungary will bring. This is one part. The other part is how the member states will react to the fact that it cannot be business as usual with the enlargement. Is this geopolitical changes today, because we are somehow squeezed into the tension between geopolitical and security needs on one hand, and on the other hand the methodology, which is, let's say, roughly 30 years old with small changes.
But what's your plan for circumventing this Hungarian veto?
Not for circumventing. It is
or to lift it.
Yes, you know, it is talking to the Hungarians. This, you know, the dialogue is always helping. You know, Hungary wasn't opposing when it was the EU 27 decision that we give Ukraine the candidate status. So we are building on this.
If this obstacle is cleared, do you still think that all 6 clusters with both Moldova and Ukraine can be opened this year?
Yes.
You're positive that it goes so fast?
From the technical point of view.
Yeah.
But there is a decision-making process in the Council. But from the technical point of view, why can I say this? Because we are really, you know, even now, if we cannot open the first cluster, we are working on the other clusters with both of the countries. So I'm sure that we will be able to prepare both countries to the level that we could then open everything in this year.
You've mentioned the geopolitical aspects, and one of those is, of course, the war in Ukraine. If Ukraine is forced into a peace settlement that is unfavorable to Ukraine, which, quite frankly, it might look like that right now, how can this affect its enlargement chances?
Enlargement is not only about entering or becoming a member of the EU. How I see the enlargement is that being a member of the EU could be a political anchor of the security guarantees for Ukraine. Probably in the near future, Ukraine will not be able to become a member of NATO. But the perspective of becoming a member of the EU could have this political effect. European Commission supports every solution which will be in the best interest of Ukraine. And of course we also want to be present there, because who will bring Ukraine into the EU? Only EU. Who will be or will take over the biggest part of the reconstruction in Ukraine? Mostly it will be Europe and European companies. Who is until now the biggest giver of help, humanitarian and all the others? It's Europe with nearly 150 billion euros. So I cannot imagine that this would happen without EU participating.
So EU membership, potential EU membership for Ukraine is non-negotiable when it comes?
In which respect do you mean?
Well, I mean, right now it seems like many European countries is somewhat reluctantly okay with no NATO membership for Ukraine. But you've spoken to many of the capitals. Are they willing to even put Ukrainian membership on the table, or is that something that...
No, I haven't noticed this. You know, there are some topics or contents we have to take care of, like taking care of the minorities, but generally there is a huge support for EU membership of Ukraine.
On Georgia, it is backsliding. There's cut of high-level contacts. There has been a visa suspension for diplomatic passports, cuts in money, EU money going to Tbilisi. Are there any more measures you could consider?
There are many possibilities, but we are really, you know, very careful what to do in this situation. We could, let's say, take away the visa liberalization, but we will harm the most the people. So then we have a deep and comprehensive free trade agreement. We could have a look into this agreement. Then Georgia is still having candidate status. So we could freeze it, we could make a standstill like with Turkey. So these are the possibilities. I don't like when the governments are not considering the, you know, the people. So the big wish of the people is going the European going the European way. So we will still work on this. I cannot accept that we can lose, that we have lost Georgia, even if the government is accepting one law after another, which is clearly against the European values.
But it seems that you're reluctant to use any more tools in the restrictive toolbox.
We tried to do the sanctions, but there was no possibility because there was no unanimity among the member states. Yes, we tried to do this, but there are some individual member states who have introduced sanctions to the individuals, and this is then how it works.
Would you consider starting talking to the government in Tbilisi again, restart high-level contacts at some point? Because the longer this goes on, you must speak to your interlocutors, after all.
I think the most easiest way is not to speak. But to speak is you have to know what you have to offer and what the other side is willing to do. So we are now exploring how we will be able to do this dialogue in the sense of that we could be able to bring Georgia back to the European way.
So does that mean speaking with them, but maybe in the future? Is that how I should interpret it?
Yeah. As I have said, the easiest way is not to talk. But you know, we talk to many other countries in the world which are not, we do not have a candidate status. So Georgia is still having a candidate status. Turkey is having a candidate status at standstill. So since 2019, we are not negotiating, but now we have just started high-level dialogues. We had one on the economy. We are planning another one on migration. We will see if we will go into the modernization of the customs union with Turkey. You know, also business community somehow wants us to do this. We have around 240 billion exchange of goods and services between EU and Turkey, and this is quite a lot.
So in Georgia it's the same though, some sort of high-level dialogues could sort of develop in the future?
I think that we should take care, perhaps not on the highest level at the beginning, or perhaps starting at the lower level, but then to see how we could explore this.
Moving to Armenia, there's currently undergoing legislative steps to get closer to the EU, potentially even applying for EU membership. Would you welcome that?
This is, you know, a clear sign what happened in the Armenian parliament, that the attractiveness of the EU is higher than it used to be. So there are two conditions that under which the country can apply, and it has to be a state and it has to be a European states. And we haven't got the application yet, but then we will see. But this is one of the signs, as I have said, that we are interesting for many other countries. Even now for Iceland, probably you have heard that they are reconsidering coming back to the negotiations. We have already closed 13 chapters based on the old methodology. So, and this is interesting, you know, when I was discussing with the members, representatives of their government, why they would like to come back. And they answered, and I quote, "We would like to belong to a community of values and democracy." And this is, you know, coming from a state which is on a very, very high level of the integration with the EU, you know, being a part of the European Economic Area. I would really be thrilled if we could go on with Iceland, and perhaps some other countries would reconsider to talk to us.
But would you be thrilled if Yerevan comes with an application as well?
I don't know yet. There are some conditions which have to be fulfilled. And then we will see.
Moving to Western Balkans, you're going to go to Serbia. Are you not afraid that this will be seen as some sort of endorsement for Mr. Vučić, who's been in a lot of troubles now, considering all the protests that goes around in the country?
Serbia has a new government now, and I will meet the new prime minister first, because Serbia really has to deliver. They have to deliver, you know, the words are not enough. So I see my mission or my visit there as really doing a lot to bring Serbia back to the European path. And I will not meet just the representatives of the government, not just the president. I will meet the representatives of the civil society organizations, which I'm in contact all the time. I will meet the students. So, you know, it's not the easy situation, but actually what the protesters are demanding from the Serbian government is the same what European Commission is demanding from Serbia to deliver in the negotiating process. It is the rule of law, it is fighting the corruption, it is public procurement, it is media legislation, it is election legislation. So Serbia has promised a lot in December in the so-called non-paper. So we will have now to check if they deliver what they have promised. And actually, I love to say that I'm the biggest supporter of the protesters, because if Serbia is serious about the EU way, and they tell me they are, they will have to deliver.
But the protesters, in the same time, has been very critical of Brussels. That Brussels has been too weak, too meek when it comes to criticizing the government. What do you say about that? Is it valid criticism?
Yeah, I have been now commissioner for 5 months, so I have been critical, but I have also met Mr. Vučić, because I think that the dialogue has to be there. And being a candidate country, or pretending, applying for the membership, you know, it's a choice. And they have chosen, Serbia has chosen this way. But this choosing EU or becoming an EU member, would love to become an EU member, comes with responsibilities, it comes with commitments. And then, you know, we have to be in contact. And I hope that the new government will deliver. The delivery in the last months or year hasn't been good. So
there is political paralysis in Kosovo right now. What's your message to Pristina?
We are waiting for the new government. I am in contact with the politicians there, and they claim that they are very much in favor of normalization, the relation with Serbia, which are actually the precondition that we could then start negotiating process or giving candidate status. So there are some preconditions they have to fulfill, and we hope that the new government will do this. This will be very, very important. You know, you have mentioned Western Balkans. I'm coming from Slovenia, which was a part of this territory in the broader sense before. So the region was in some aspects better 20 years back than it is and it is today. And there are two very sad stories, or three. One of them is Kosovo not being able to move on. Another sad story is North Macedonia. If we would wait with Ukraine for as long as North Macedonia has to wait to start the negotiations, Ukraine would start negotiations in 2045. And then, of course, it is Bosnia. You're now going to the Balkan.
And I'm going to make the tour, don't worry. Kosovo, two things actually that the EU can do, though. One is for the Commission to issue an opinion, and I know, of course, that it's member states who have to send the opinion over to the Commission.
You know the system very well.
Do you think this can happen during the Danish presidency, so the second half of this year?
I wouldn't know. I haven't got any signals from the member states or from the Danish presidency that this would be able to happen, but I count on it. I think it would be really good that we start. Because once we start, then it is easier, you know, involving them in the whole negotiation process, where then actually they have to deliver, but we have to start.
And the other thing, of course, is the measures that have been imposed on Kosovo. The EU foreign ministers a few weeks ago hinted to the European Commission that it's time to gradually lift them. What's going to be lifted first? When does it start? And how do you see this process?
We don't know yet. We are discussing this, and if the member states will be for the lifting, we will, of course, do this, but not all the member states are for the time being for lifting the measures.
So they will remain for a bit longer?
Oh, I don't know. It is about the member states, how they will want to do this.
On Bosnia, do you see Mr. Dodik as someone you can still deal with when it comes to the EU accession process?
It is difficult to deal with somebody who is not doing the best in the interest of its own country, of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And it is difficult to deal with somebody who is going against the territorial integrity, sovereignty, and the constitutional order. And this is one of the reasons why we haven't been able to open negotiations with Bosnia yet. Even Bosnia is having a candidate status, but because of the internal political situation, they are not even able to name the chief negotiator. They are not able to put on the paper the reform agenda, which will enable them to get 1 billion out of the growth plan. So we are now really working on this, and there are some silver linings for the time being, that there is also the opposition in Republika Srpska who is getting more constructive, and this could be a breakthrough then for the negotiating process.
But going back to Dodik, I know that of course it's very difficult to impose sanctions on him for the same reason as it's difficult to impose sanctions on Georgians, but in Georgia you did find various other measures you can hit the government with. Why not the same with Bosnia and Dodik?
Because the member states are not united in sanctions against Dodik.
As simple as that?
Yes.
Madam Commissioner, thank you very much.
Thank you.